Welcome to Martin Monday's Intentional Intimacy, where love, life, and legacy meet in the moments that matter most. Every week, I will share sacred reflections of my 30-year marriage before Martin's passing, as well as our life now without him. May these reflections help us live with more weight, warmth, and wisdom. Martin was a letter carrier by profession, but a life carrier by purpose. So let's take a moment and let intentional intimacy speak. Good day. Welcome to episode 4 of Martin Monday's Intentional Intimacy. This is your host, Paula Hollis, where I'm sharing stories from my 30-year marriage with my husband, Martin Hollis, before his passing in November of 2021, November 24th of 2021. And so in today's episode, I've talked about a couple things over the few episodes so far, but today I want to start talking about some details of our relationship, specifically how Martin proposed. And so, if I can kind of set the backdrop for this, Martin was 8 years older. I think I shared that previously. And we got married when I was 21, he was 29. And the story think I'm going to actually read it. This is the first time I'm going to actually read the story that's in the book. And so I'm going to read the story and then I maybe will expound a little bit in it. And so I'll take a moment, read the story as is, and then give my reflections. I hope you'll enjoy it. So here we are, intentional intimacy. So here's the story. It's entitled, Let Me Hold the Ring. Okay. It says, and this is from the book, Intentional Intimacy. Okay? It says, Martin proposed the Christmas of my senior year of college. I wasn't really expecting it, yet I was. As he waited for an answer in that moment, I couldn't quite get my thoughts together. Then I finally said, marriage is a big decision that I can't make until I'm 21. So I suggested that I wear the ring and I think about it and give him an answer on my 21st birthday when we go out to dinner. You see, I did two things there. I get to wear the ring and I have a guaranteed birthday dinner. So I digress. So without hesitation, Martin said, okay. And so his wait began. It's about a month between Christmas and my birthday. Christmas is the 25th of December. My birthday is January 16th. Okay, I need to make that clear. I wasn't making him wait forever while I'm wearing this ring. All right, back to the story. Now, I didn't give it another thought, despite my parents asking me every day if I had an answer. Not yet was my daily response. Martin, he never asked me either. He was content to wait. The morning of my 21st birthday, my parents really pushed me for an answer that I could not provide. Knowing I only had a few hours, I took myself to lunch and I sat there for 4 hours with a piece of paper folded in half with a tale of two choices: reasons to marry Martin and reasons not to marry Martin. I was determined to exhaust myself in thought, and I did. Even my waiter helped me a few times once I explained why I was there so long. I prayed for God to help me to think of things too. I'm so grateful that I have matured in my spiritual walk. Now, while we know the side of the now while we know which side of the paper had the most entries, The funniest part was when I actually showed Martin the list on our 10th wedding anniversary. Boy, did we laugh about the whole process and my approach. And I thought I was mature at 21. There was one funny entry on the con side, the con, that said, but he's going to be bald. That definitely, though, became a pro because my captain, he had the cutest big round bald head. Oops, I digressed again. Okay, back to the story. Sorry. Sometimes I kind of regret tearing up that list. I did. I tore it up because the contents were hysterical. But the contents of my union with Martin, they were far greater and truly beyond a list of pros and cons. It's the pros for me, baby. So, what is the lesson here? Love is patient, love is kind. Martin was patient and he was kind to respect my sophomoric process, whether he understood or agreed with it. He afforded me grace and space in that season to come to my own conclusions on the matter. Since Martin's transition, grace and space have become my focus words, when in reality, I've had them all along, and I'm just fully recognizing it. May we all extend more grace and space to one another. While we may not share the same processes and practices in decision making or actions, extending and receiving patience and kindness will certainly make a difference. Grace and space. So I share that story. I hope you got something out of it, but I joke and I laugh about it all the time because it actually was kind of funny. So I have this piece of paper. This isn't the piece of paper that I used when I made these decisions. I really wish I had saved that piece of paper because it was funny, y'all. It really was. But think about it. I have this piece of paper. I'm gonna fold it in half. Reasons to marry Martin Hollis. Reasons not to marry Martin Hollis. And I sat there in that restaurant exhausting my head. It was really funny. And when I look back over some of the things I said, it was very silly. But yet, as silly as it was serious. And it gets to the heart of our decision making. What are some hard decisions that you need to make? What process are you using to help you to make those decisions? And let's look at the love and the grace and the space that Martin extended to me. I don't know that I would have done that. I didn't ask you to marry me and you haven't given me an answer. Like, no, you need to give me an answer. Like, I think I would have been pushing, but that's not the type of person that he was. He was very patient. He was very long suffering, long. Because this girl, this girl made him practice that a little bit sometimes. But I think that I learned a lot from reflecting on who he was and how he did things because he did epitomize love in so many different ways. He didn't rush my decisions. He didn't question or challenge, my process. He simply waited. What a concept. He simply waited. Um, I guess he had some confidence that I was going to say yes. But he didn't rush me. And I appreciate that my parents, they didn't really rush me either. Although they did ask me every day, what are you going to do? And I didn't think about it. I just took the ring and I would wear it and look at it. But I wasn't in a rush either. There's a lesson there too. You don't have to rush in our decisions. Let me hold the ring. Why don't we hold some rings? What's the ring in your life that you need to hold and wait before you decide, right? Um, yeah, let's take the time. Let's extend grace and space to ourselves, but then also extend grace and space to others. It really does go a long way. Thank you so much for joining me this week in Martin Mondays. See you next week. You know, Martin used to say a lot of things. Some were funny, some were wise, but one thing he often said was, wow. Wow. Just those three letters. It spoke volumes. It meant a lot. When he didn't know what to say, wow. When he was excited about something, wow. When he was confused, perhaps, or even frustrated, he said, wow. And you know, he's still saying wow. Through this bracelet, he's still saying wow because he's still saying, may your whole life prove that God is good. And so in closing, that's my hope for you this week. May you have wow moments as you too are living out legacy. Live in the wow. Live in the reality of knowing that your whole life is good. Live in the heartbeat of Martin Mondays and intentional intimacy. May that anchor you in this week as you build legacy, one wow, one moment at a time. See you next week.